Hi everyone, I'm Haze Long and today we are diving into the world of my new Noise Brush Pack. This isn't just any brush set, it is a collection specifically designed to bring softness and gentleness into your artwork. We will explore brushes that are perfect for creating soft textures, dreamy and gentle effects, and also to create subtle layering. Whether you're crafting a romantic scene or just add a touch of softness to your artwork, these brushes will be your go-to tools. So again, this brush pack will be divided into 3 options. The free brush pack, which has limited amount of brushes for you to test out the brushes, and then there's the basic brush pack, which has the full collection of the brush pack, and finally we have the premium brush pack, which includes the full set of brushes and also a portrait tutorial. So let's get started and see how we can transform our artwork into dreamy pieces of soft, ethereal, light-infused portraits using these brushes.
So this is the setup that I have to test out the brushes. I have a blurred image of the painting and also a sketch layer above. So before we begin, we are just going to duplicate this layer. And then for one of the copies, just go over to curves and make the curve something like this so that we have darker shadows and brighter highlights. We are just going to turn off the layer and set this aside, and we're going to work in one of the original blurred image to test the brushes. The crosshatch smudge brush was intended to be a smudge brush, but you can also use this in the painting tool to create light brush-like marks around the areas that you want to paint. This is also a good brush to use for painting hair. The flat brush smudge is my favorite smudging brush from my older brush packs that I always include as a staple in my brush packs. So this is it here. It is a very oily kind of smudge brush that can just drag everything but still leave like brush marks behind. The Nickel Roll brush is readily available in Procreate itself, but I've just included this into this brush pack for convenience. And this is one of my favorite brushes because when you use it as a smudge brush, it is very creamy in the center, but it retains a sharp edge all around the edges. And if you use it in the eraser tool, you can use it to carve out shapes sharply and still have some grainy effects. And of course, if you use this to paint, you will get like chalky marks that have interesting effects and noise textures. Depending on how you use the brush, you can actually end up with just 2 edges that is hard and the other 2 is soft. Just try it out and see if you get what I mean. For instance, all the shapes that I'm painting right now, the edge at the bottom is soft and the edge for the left and right is very hard. This brush is also exceptional for portraits because all it takes is a few hard edges at the right spots to bring structure and definition to the face. This noise smudge brush is used to add noise around edges, so you can use it as a smudge tool to add just noise and texture around the edge of your shapes, or you can use this in your brush tool and start sketching with it. The Noise Smudge brush is a very highly textured brush. So if you don't want something that is so textured, you can use a noisy sketch and smudge brush instead. So this is less noisy, but it also has some texture in it. Any of my brushes with the name sketch in it, it means that you can use it to work on details. So it's really good to use this as a sketching brush when you're trying to finish a painting or work on details that are really tight and small. For these brushes, always remember that if you press hard, it's going to be bigger and more opaque, and if you just let it flow softly, it's just going to blend outwards. So use this to your advantage and use sweeping strokes when you are painting with this kind of brush. But after all, this brush does come with texture, so if you do not want texture, you can consider using the next brush instead. The Natural Sketches Smudge Brush is a very versatile brush that I kept in many of my brush pack because of how creamy it is and how easy it is for you to sketch with this brush and also to smudge with this brush. You can easily create details and also blend at the same time. The Wet Sketch brush is a very oily and transparent brush that is very suitable to start a painting, but not so suitable when it's come to the middle stages. So it's very good for you to just quickly sketch up something with this oily brush and then after that rework it with subsequent layers with other brushes, or to just use this to drag paint around. The Fat Nebula brush is a soft textured brush that you can just paint first and then use the eraser to erase and carve out the shape that you want, but still maintain the textures within the shape. And this is how I quickly just add highlights to the sleeves by just painting and then erasing out the shapes of the highlights. Fat Medium brush does the exact same thing. It is a soft brush with some texture in it, but I like to use this brush in conjunction with some blending modes in order to control how it looks like before I carve out the shape. I can use the overlay or color blending mode to change colors, or I can use multiply to add shadows and color dodge or screen to add highlights. Just remember to use the eraser or the smudge tool to carve the shape that you want after you paint. The Fat Fine brush is one of the softest brushes in this set, so you can use it to softly lay shapes and then after that just carve it out for the gradients that you want. All the fat brushes are meant to be used with blending modes, so you just play around with them and see what blending mode suits your purpose. Here I'm painting a shape first, and then I'm just going to turn on mask, invert it using the brush and any sketch brush. With white color, I can then paint the details which will reveal the soft shape. The Angled Shader is the first effects brush that I'm introducing in this brush pack. If you paint upwards, the shading will be to the left, and if you paint downwards, the shading will be to the right. So because this brush pack prioritizes the quality of edges and most of the brushes have soft edges, I needed a brush that can create hard edge but also have texture at the same time. So this is the brush and it can just refine edges as you go with some texture. And you can also use this brush to create interesting effects such as lasers and translucent veil, such as this image here. So this tutorial is actually included in the premium brush pack and it's quite long and detailed, so you can download that one if you want to learn how to create this effect. This highlight speckled brush is quite an unpredictable brush. If you press hard, it's gonna have some highlights, but if you press softly, there's only gonna be highlights and less paint. So you're gonna have to pick the color that you want to paint over and then just lightly feather over it to get the speckles to come out. So once you have painted the speckles, you're gonna have to use a smudge or the eraser tool to remove those speckles that you don't want. You're going to have to use this brush sparingly because if you overdo it, it's gonna look flat. So make sure that you smudge and erase away those extra speckles. The unpredictability of this brush comes from using this brush on a layer that already has paint on it. So if you want just highlights, paint on a new layer, because if you're going to paint on a layer that already have art on it, you might come up with black spots or oversaturated color as well. The Style Bristle brush is an oily brush that can easily pull paint around and still leave marks of brush strokes when you paint. So this is good for finishing areas like hair or the edges if you want to have like streaks of brush strokes in them. Anything with the word style in the brush is meant to be used at the end of the painting to finish up the painting and to add effects. The Style Round brush is also an effects brush, but it leaves textures of the canvas behind. So you can use this at the end of the painting session to create dry brushing effects around edges or just to create textures in certain areas. This brush is good for the background because this is usually where the canvas textures are more prominent. So you can use this brush to fill up the negative space that wasn't painted before.
Okay everyone, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I'm actually hosting a giveaway right now in my website. So to join this giveaway, all you have to do is submit your email into this mailing list right here. In 3 days, I will announce 5 winners that will receive the Premium Noise Brush Pack. And I'll see you next time. Remember to comment, like and subscribe. Bye!